Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zara and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in November and December. I didn't read that many books in November, so that's why I thought I'd end up just combining the two videos. I was traveling, I was sick, and then December was actually a really great month for my reading. I read quite a lot of books and I read some really good books. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So the first book that I read in November was Purple and Black by KJ Parker. Short novella, absolutely fantastic, great taster of what KJ Parker does extremely well in about 120 pages. I gave it a 5-star. I really enjoyed reading it with Alan and it was a great experience all around. The next book I read was A Shadow in Summer by Daniel Abraham. I gave this 4.5 stars. It is the first book in the Long Price Quartet. Really solid character work by Abraham and a bit of a slow burn, but I really enjoyed it. And I think it's a fantastic book and a great start to the series. The third book I read was Prosper's Demon by KJ Parker. I gave this another 4.5 stars. Very weird, not one that I would recommend to most people, to be perfectly honest, especially with people who've never read KJ Parker before. But the humor is fantastic. The themes it tackles are really interesting. And I thought it was another really solid Parker book. So we're now going into December books and I read A Betrayal in Winter by Daniel Abraham. Second book in the Long Price Quartet. Very, very good book. Absolutely excellent book. I gave it a 4.75 stars. I have a feeling that I'm probably going to end up coming back to this book and giving it a 5 stars once I finish the quartet. But I thought it was fantastic. Some amazing character work. And one of the female characters in this novel is one of the best female characters that I've read. And I just thought it was really well executed. The next one I read was The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, my first contemporary romance that I've read in a while. And it happened to be the first contemporary romance that I really enjoyed. I've talked about romance and contemporary romance and fantasy romance on my channel a number of times and how it just doesn't really seem to be working for me as much as it used to. But this was a really solid contemporary romance. I gave it a 4 stars and my faith has been somewhat restored by this book. The next one I read was Abolutions by Patrick DeWitt. This is the debut novel of Patrick DeWitt. I've read The Sisters Brothers, which I've done a review of in the past. And Abolutions is very different. It tackles some very different themes. It's still very much DeWitt's writing, but a little bit more pared down. I mean, it is his first novel, so obviously it's not as developed as, say, in The Sisters Brothers. But I really enjoyed it. It was a really solid debut novel in my opinion, and I ended up giving it a 4.25 stars. The next book I read was The Hammer by KJ Parker. I read this with Alan, and this book is one of the most depressing books that I read in 2021. Absolutely fantastic, great character work, great thematic work, and Parker is he's just a new favorite. I gave it a 5 stars, another solid work by him, and I can't wait to read more. The next book I read was the one that I rated lowest over November and December, and I was very surprised that it was so low. And that is The Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky, my first Tchaikovsky read. It is a very short sci-fi novella, and I really did not like it. I loved the first 20 to 30 pages, and then it just went completely downhill for me. I think maybe I wasn't in the mood for sci-fi. One of the characters is a very dry character, and I just did not like the way that he was written. And it wasn't good. I was really looking forward to reading it because I've heard great things about Tchaikovsky from Alan and Angela and Katrina and others. My expectations were high and it just felt completely flat. I gave it a 3 stars. I still have faith in Tchaikovsky, but that one was a letdown. The next book I read, I needed something lighter. I'd read a bunch of really dark books. I needed something to lighten up my mood. And so I read The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare. It is a historical romance. It's really enjoyable. I read it in like a day. Very easy to get through. For the first time in a while, I actually really liked the female character. I thought she was a bit different to what we normally read in historical romance. And I really liked the male love interest as well. I thought he had a lot of depth and I liked the way that he was characterized. And I ended up giving that a 3.5 stars, which for me is a pretty solid rating for a historical romance. The next book I read was The Look of a King by Tom Dumbrell. This is a debut novel by Tom Dumbrell. I came across the book completely by accident, and I'm probably going to do a review of it because I think he should get more press. It's kind of like a rags to riches story, and you follow 2 characters and they essentially swap places. And I just really liked the story. It was a really solid story. The pacing was really good and I liked the character work that was done. It does read a little bit younger. I think it is YA, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just a bit different. And it's the first YA that I've read that I actually really enjoyed. and I'm excited to read the second book, and I will do a review on this. But I ended up giving it a 4/4.25 stars, which I think is really solid for a debut. And then the next 3 books I read, which I'm going to do individual reviews, and then I'm going to do a spoiler review of this series. And that is by my favourite author, which you will all know who that is by now, and that is Joe Abercrombie. I read A Little Hatred, The Trouble with Peace, and The Wisdom of Crowds in the last week of December. And it was a wild ride, and I have many opinions and thoughts about it, which I will leave for my individual book reviews, which will be coming soon. I gave them all 5 stars. I don't think that's surprising, but they're not all equal, but they're all 5 stars for sure. So there we have it. Those were the books that I read over November and December. Feels like it was months ago, even though it's only the first week of January. But let me know what you read. Give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.